Hi, FlossTube. My name is Grace. I'm the Paisley Stitcher here on FlossTube as well as on Instagram. This is FlossTube number 14, and it's FlossTuber for a day, and I am thrilled. I have my friend Barrie. Good morning,
Hi,
Barrie.
Grace. Good morning, Grace. Thank you so much for inviting me on your FlossTube.
I'm thrilled. I'm
I
thrilled
am
to have
too.
you. And
Thank you.
some of you, probably all of you know Barrie because your company is Stitchfolk.
Yes, I am a bag maker. I'm a bag lady.
You're back with
I make berry bags.
You do. You make wonderful, beautiful bags.
Thank you. Thank you. I really love making them.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that.
Sounds
So,
good.
how I'd like to start off by telling people how we met.
Wasn't
How
it
did we meet?
wonderful? We met in February of 2022, I believe.
Yeah,
21. We met
22.
at our Phoenix in February.
I think it was 22.
22. That sounds
Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
2022, we met at a private retreat that we did at the attic in Phoenix. And we didn't know that we lived near each other at that time.
No,
So,
I had
yeah.
purchased some bags from you, and when the mailing label came, this is when you lived in San
Oh,
Diego.
yeah, yeah.
She lives in San Diego. There's another Stitcher.
You thought you
Who
were the only
knew?
one.
I
No,
know. Yeah, that was so much fun.
it
And we
was
have
such a,
been to so many retreats
we
together over the
have.
last,
We've been to back to Phoenix many times.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we would
And
meet up here. Go ahead.
and we will go again many times.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, and we would meet for Mexican food because
No, because it was really
there's
good.
Mexican food in San Diego.
There is Mexican food in San
We
Diego.
happen to be
Which
fans.
reminds me, our most recent retreat, we went to um, Queen City Sampler Guild
Mhm.
in
Yes,
Florence,
out here in
Kentucky.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we oh, I'm blowing out. Okay, well, it was a
Oh,
Nicola Parkman
oh
retreat,
yeah.
and we went for Mexican food in Kentucky.
That was the worst Mexican food we've ever had. It
I
was
know
absolutely horrendous.
you and I are spoiled living
Hmm.
or have lived in Southern California because we
Yeah.
have the best Mexican food. And I cracked up when I looked at we were looking at the menu, deciding what we wanted to eat, and they had all
All
these
looked authentic
quesadillas.
too. Yeah.
Huh?
It
What
looked
was that?
very authentic as
They
well.
did. They did.
Yeah.
But under quesadillas, you know how they have a note about what they come with? Under quesadillas, it says all quesadillas come with cheese. That should have clued us in right then
Like a
and there.
revelation.
I know, but it was fun. Now we've got a great story to tell about it.
Yes, we do. Gosh, that was,
It was
and
funny.
your friend that was with us was very underwhelmed as well. Kay was like, no.
No, because she's from Southern California too. I don't know what we
Yes.
were thinking, but because
Oh,
we're just
wow.
so used to it. Yeah,
It
but
gave us a
anyway,
good story. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So tell me how you
Mhm.
got into stitching.
I'm a new cross stitcher, new-ish. I've always had a needle in my hand. I've been sewing at the sewing machine since I was about 9 years old. I was hand sewing before that, but cross stitching never crossed my path. No pun intended. And it wasn't until August, September of 2020, I had been sewing masks nonstop for however many months that was, many
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
And I needed it. I have a history of knitting. I haven't knit in quite a couple of years, but I wanted to just sit in a chair and make something. I wanted to not be at a sewing machine. And so I contacted my friend Kelly, who is One Life to Stitch on Instagram. And I said, I just remember years previous, he's been a long, long time friend. And he had on his mantle years before that, this little something that he had stitched. And I asked him what that was. And turns out it was petty point on like 40 count over one on 40 count silk, or anyway, I wanted to do something small. And he said,
Yeah.
what you want to do is cross stitch. And so he told me about FlossTube. We got onto Etsy and started looking around, and I just dove in hard.
Did you?
Head first. I went in head first. I did
Yeah.
not test the water. One of the first things I purchased was a Jane Fittis kit. And what
You
was
weren't
the
messing
other?
around.
No, not
You're
at
starting
all.
with Jane Fittis.
I started with Jane Fittis. I have actually my first stitch, and it was something Kelly and I did together. And it was Fancy Blackett, the perfect pumpkin. I'll show you that in a minute. But and then we did one together. We did it was called a sheltering tree, where I did half of one and he did the other half of mine, and we switched, and so we each have half on each other's. So,
Oh,
and then it was just, I just knew right away that samplers were my thing. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
40
you want
count
to
and
show us
silk
your
was
first
like,
stitch?
oh, my first stitch.
Show us your first stitch.
Oh, not my first stitch. I'm sure I have. So that would have been Fancy Blackett.
I love the
And this is
fabric.
on Smoky Pearls.
Yeah. Oh
Finish
no.
it. I mean, it looks like something you could sit and stitch in a couple. I did not understand the slow workings of cross stitch at the time.
Say that again
So
because my internet's getting glitchy and you froze.
I said it took what I thought was a long time to stitch, because I did
Yeah.
not understand the slow workings of cross stitch at that time.
Yeah.
I sewed. Everything was like, zip, 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 So this took, it
Was that
took me weeks.
frustrating for you?
It was eye-opening. I don't know that, because I've knitted. I mean, knitting, I'm not a fast knitter. Knitting, it takes me a long time as well.
Yeah.
So Fancy Blackett is my first actual finish. Clearly not a fully finished, but now for a long time, I looked for a frame. Not a long time. I looked for a frame and thought, well, that's not, I wasn't going to frame it. So
Yeah.
I'll do some kind of pillow finish with her.
Yeah.
But then the second piece, which also, I don't have anything fully finished, is this it's called A Sheltering Tree, and it's by Bonnie Sullivan. All Through the Night is her company.
Yeah.
She also is known for quilts and felt, wool felt applique.
Uh-huh.
But the side I did is this more green side, and the side Kelly did has the purples in it.
Yeah. It's
And
so pretty.
isn't it just delightful? And we have
Yes.
our initial, he put his initials in. I haven't done anything because I haven't put my initials in yet. So,
And when are you
but
are you gonna frame that or flat fold
I
it?
think this I would frame this. This
Yeah.
is frame worthy. They're all frame worthy.
They are.
So
They
the other
are.
thing that I finished fairly early in my cross stitch was Brenda Gervais had put out this Minty and Mary, I believe it was called.
Yeah.
Mary and Minty, maybe. It was free. I'm not sure, maybe the second, it would have been 2020 or 2021.
Uh-huh.
And so I did fully finish that
You
with some Japanese fabric on the back.
What did you stuff
And
your pillow with?
this has walnut shell in it.
Okay. I'm not
Yeah,
like
this
I'm
is,
asking everybody because I've got a pillow I need to finish.
and it's the first time I've done it. I mean, and I did a little trim on the
You
edge.
did. It looks great.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed that. Very much enjoyed that. And it comes out every holiday. All
Good.
the holidays since 2020, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you start sewing? Because you said
Oh,
were
I
you
have a
9
I
or
have a short tale about that. So back in our day, in the summertime, the school districts would offer recreation, right? You had recreation, and then they would offer summer school classes that were not like, I mean, it was just enrichment stuff. You can go and I wanted to take a kite making class.
oh
And so my mom took me, grew up in Solana Beach, California, and we went down to the Del Mar School District because they had the classes that were more art based. And so we went to whatever the school was in Del Mar, and the kite making class was full. And I was just devastated. So an option was a handmade teddy bear class. And I should have brought it down. I'll show it sometime.
okay.
But it's
Maybe you
a
could show it on your
little,
Instagram.
I think I may have in the past, but I'll bring it up again.
Okay.
And it's made out of like little teddy bear fur that it's called Sherpa. We hand stitched it, stitched a little nose on it. So it's got limbs and you stitch across the legs and the arms. So they're a little floppy. We stuffed them.
Oh,
I fell in love with sewing. That was just
really?
like, oh, because I made this thing. I mean, and now if I'd taken the kite making class, I wouldn't have the kite still, for sure.
Yeah.
But I have the
Yeah.
teddy bear still.
Yeah.
It has its yellow ribbon that I'd put on it back when I was 8 years old.
Oh,
And I was also in Campfire Girls. We did some hand sewing in Campfire Girls. So I was
yeah.
in that for years.
Uh-huh.
So beads, anything with beads and anything, we did macrame. I always had some fiber in my hands from that
Did
point on.
you?
Yeah, yeah.
And so
A
what
lot
point
of,
did you sit beside a
oh,
sewing
at
machine and start?
9, this summer I was 9, my cousin Leslie and I made sundresses at the sewing machine, cutting out the pattern, choosing our fabrics. And it was, my mom had sewn, but when I started sewing,
She
she
let you.
hardly sewed after that. Yeah. I mean, it was just, I was the sewing machine person at that point. But yeah, sewing sundresses and shorts and it was just mainly clothes at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how did you go from clothes to Waldorf dolls?
Oh, the Waldorf dolls. That was a long, windy road. I was a single mom for a long time. I had my first child at 18. So one of the things I knew that I wanted, if I was going to be single, I was married, but then I was single soon after, because you don't make life decisions at 18. It's unless it's like college related. Um, that's my
No, I
words of
totally
wisdom.
agree with
Words of
you.
wisdom. I mean, she's,
Your brain's
40
not
something.
fully formed.
No, but that's at the time of life when you actually know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older,
That's
you
right.
realize how little you actually know.
Yeah.
But I knew that I wanted to stay home as much as possible.
Yeah.
Just because if you've got one parent in the household, kind of
Right.
nice if they're around. So,
It is.
and I had a skill. So I made teddy bears initially, and then I did get married again, had 2 more children, years later divorced. So by the time they were 4 and 5, so I was in my early 30s at that point and looking at schools and was already familiar with the Waldorf education system, or the practice of that. And at that point, I'd sewn quilts. I had sewn for a couple of companies. I'd sewn when personal computers were really becoming a thing, I'd sewn computer covers for a company. All these things I could stay home and work and be home. Um, I'd sewn for a backpack company, Eagle Creek Backpacks. It used to be in Solana Beach. So I had lots of different
Didn't know
sewing
that.
experience. Yeah, yeah. And it was the Waldorf dolls came out of when the kids started going to a Waldorf school in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing that actually for a living at that time. That happened when we moved to Washington, when they went to the Waldorf School on Whidbey Island.
Uh-huh.
And it just it was the internet, it was putting my photos on Flickr because I needed to get them from one computer to another and I didn't know how to do that. So I put them on Flickr, and that time that was like the main photo. This is 2005, 6, somewhere in there. That was where people went to look at photos and what, it was the Instagram of the time, I guess,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way. You put your photos up and people follow tags. And so I got a lot of attention for the dolls I was making. And so
Yeah.
that's when in 2007, I started an Etsy shop, 2007 or 8.
Wow.
So,
Early
and it
on.
wasn't, yeah. And I sold at we have a farmer's market there on South Whidbey Island down in Bayview. And so I sold at the farmer's market. I used to say people don't come to the farmer's market expecting to spend $100 and whatever at the time on a doll. They're coming for groceries and candles. So,
Yeah. I'm
so
sure they were
I made
popular.
dolls. Yeah, I made dolls for 15 years.
And
And
then,
then,
and
then I
then,
moved to,
so when you started cross stitching and making masks during the
yeah. Well, I
lockdown,
made masks and then that was done. By the time people were able to access them at the, it took, remember, there was many months where you couldn't get them at the store,
No, no,
so people bought fabric masks.
right.
I was able to get liners for them that were I
Oh,
don't
you
remember what it's
did.
called now.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
N95, something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
so when you started
it,
stitching, is that when you started making project bags?
well, because I wasn't making dolls, and I was done making dolls when I moved we were up in Washington until 2019. My husband was already working in San Diego. So we sold when we moved, we were going to keep our house. We kept it for a year and then decided that we weren't, guess it was time to sell it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a thing. I wasn't working, it was like, I didn't have a thing that I was doing. Didn't know about cross stitch at that time. So when I started cross stitching, my first thought was, oh, maybe there's something in the cross stitch realm I can use my sewing skills in. And my first thought was finish work. And then I thought better of that because I thought, I haven't even finished anything myself. And I can't imagine somebody sending me their, their hours and hours and investment and sending it to me thinking that I'm going to do something fantastic with it when I'm nothing to show for that.
Yeah.
But bags I knew, bags I could figure out. But fabric was really hard to come by still. So
Really?
yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize
So
fabric was, I know linen was, I did my share of
yeah,
hoarding of
no,
linen.
sewing fabric was not easy to get still. The stores were starting to open. So my first sales were in March of 2021. So I started stitching in September of 2020. So March of 2021, I'd contacted Laura and Brenda and asked if I contacted Laura because Laura will say yes. um, Apparently I figured that out fast. Hi, Laura. I said, I'm a new bag maker and I'd like to send some bags to you,
That was
and
smart.
I did. And I did, and they liked them and I loved them. I loved Brenda and Laura, but I loved the bags. I loved the process. And then the hunt for fabric was really enjoyable too. So
Yeah. And your
now I'm a bag maker.
selection of fabric is perfection.
I
It
do like
is.
me some French General and
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The hunt for fabric is still really fun.
Is
Takes a
it?
lot of time. And it's different now because I make bags by the hundreds. So I have a lot of fabric. This behind me is just a sampling of my fabric.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to make 200 bags, 400 bags, I need to be able to source bulk fabric, which is not always it's not always available in the bulk that I need, with what I'm looking for. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a whole separate job, sourcing the product.
Yeah. But
But
are you surprised by how popular? I mean, I'm not because your
still,
bags, I just love them. Even if I didn't know you, I would say that.
I'm
I
still
just love them.
surprised. I've seen a lot of bags. I've seen more and more bags now that I've gone to so many retreats, and they're beautiful. People do beautiful work.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, aside from the fabrics that set my bags apart, is the texture, the way they feel. And the reason that they feel that way is I'm going to loop my husband in here. We use fusible fleece. It's a heavyweight fusible fleece. I'm at his table right now. He cuts that and then he fuses that onto the fabric using a big heat press. So it has
Ah,
this even pressure and heat all at once, and it's quicker than if we did it at the ironing board.
oh
But
yeah.
he just heat, because there's 3 pieces on every bag to heat press: the front, the top panel, and the back. And he's got it down, and it looks just like that.
Yeah.
Now
But
the
you're right.
applique
The
ones,
structure. the-
and it's the way that fusible fleece. If I do it with the iron, it doesn't feel the same.
yeah.
So there's a secret for you guys. If you're making bags, you can get we have a big one, but I mean, you can get a 12 by 15, for a couple $100 on Amazon.
Wow.
And it makes a big difference. They're not meant for this. I think they're really meant for putting transfers onto shirts, and it's a heat machine. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's meant for other things, but the application with this is really good too.
Yeah.
I'm
And
getting
so
whined at.
you what?
Someone's whining at me.
She is?
She
Oh,
is.
can you show us?
Would you like to see her?
We
Come
would
here.
love to see
This
her.
is Olive. Come here.
Yes.
She won't stay.
Oh,
But
hi, Olive. She's
There's Gracie. Grace
beautiful.
Max's mom. There's Max's. She's
So Barry and I both have dachshunds.
Oh, they're so cool.
Mine's curled up sleeping. But
Smart
how
fellow.
old is Olive?
Olive just turned 2.
Oh, she's still a
She's
baby.
such a baby.
They're
And
the
we
best.
adore her. God,
Their
I
personalities.
just my first dachshund. I've had 2 Bostons, and I love Boston Terriers so much.
I know.
My husband not fond of a dog that snores. He's got a wife that snores. I don't know why a dog that snores is not a problem. So
My dog
anyway.
snores. My dog snores.
Oh, mine doesn't.
So it's
Not
off
yet.
and
She's
on.
young. She's
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what are you stitching on? I know you've got a bunch of whips. I would
I
love
do. I
to see
do.
your whips.
So some of my whips, I call them lazy whips, the ones that just don't want to don't want to get worked on. So I
Yes,
have a couple more. Should I show you the last time? I have a few other finishes. You want me to show you those first so I can
please.
move those aside?
Absolutely.
So this is Tiny Treetops. I will put that. Tiny Treetops Rose or Time by Blackbird. And this is one of my,
Oh, that
and
is
it's stitched
beautiful.
on Picture This Plus Heartland with the called for.
Is it cotton, overdyed cottons?
I think it is.
I
I'm pretty
know, I
sure
don't.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so pretty. I love the
But
colors.
love it. I love it. And that I will frame.
Yes.
And that's a little unwieldy holding that up. Let me see if this. So this is The Bird Keeper
Oh,
by The Good Huswife.
I
And I
haven't.
borrowed this chart. And this is stitched on XJU Designs Marbled Pointer 40 count. And it's the called for DMC.
I love that she has birds in her dress.
I love her. There's the only thing I did different is I did a little bit of back stitch around her neck because it looked like her neck just kind of disappeared. But other than that, I used a SWAT 103 to do that. So it was pretty
Okay.
thin, but I just need a little definition. And the little house behind the tree,
Yes.
I really love this piece. And I liked it for a long time and finally just I think it's in the homespun needlework Facebook group every once in a
Yes.
while. Maybe it's at the beginning of the month or something. There's like, what chart are you looking for? And I went, oh, I want that chart.
So on the
And
trees, did you do a
uh-huh.
specialty stitch on the buds of the trees?
No, I think, no, they're just cross
Because
stitch
when
on the
you held it
inside.
up, it looked like,
Oh, you know what? Yes, I think they're eyelets.
I love that effect.
I'm pretty sure they're eyelets.
Yeah.
I'm
They're-
pretty sure they're eyelets. I know
They're
an
not-
eyelet when I see one, right?
They're not
Yeah.
X's.
They're not X's, yeah. And then the only other, I have 2 more finishes. So this is Birds of a Feather, and it's stitched with the NPI. And I stitched this right before the chart was released. I had borrowed this chart as well.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing I haven't done is I want to put some kind of mark on it, you know, with that I'm kind of like what Audrey does with stitch bead.
Yeah.
I figured with a name like Barrie, maybe a Barrie.
Oh,
so
I love this. So what is that? Your mark?
I don't have it yet. I haven't worked it
but
up
you're
yet.
thinking about a berry. I love that.
Yeah. And I like Audrey's idea about the ones that she does. And she does them on the reproduction samplers. I don't know that it would, well, this is actually a reproduction.
Isn't
I think
it?
it's modified, but I don't know
Yeah.
that for certain, but it is a reproduction. But anyway, I just thought if I wanted to come up with a mark, I think a berry would make sense, right?
I
And an
think
H.
so.
Yeah. So,
What kind of berry?
oh, I'm sure a strawberry, a loganberry, a Pillsbury, some kind of berry. And then my only other finish I have is, so I have not a lot of finishes, but this is my Miss Maggie May. And oh God, I love her so much. So I did put tiny buttons on it. I do have some buttons set aside for you, Grace. I will.
Oh, okay.
I know you haven't started her yet, but you know.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
I put her little Mary Janes are red pear, Weeks red pear.
so you
So
loaned me the pattern.
I gave you the pattern.
Oh, you gave me the, thank you.
I
Oh,
did. Yeah.
I just, see, I'm
And
having trouble with lighting.
I stuffed her with sawdust.
You did.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's, sorry, it's blowing
So,
out. But
so
anyway,
I have
I
the others
love,
kitted up.
I love the
And this
changes
is,
that you've made.
thank you. This
Yeah.
is Lakeside pearled barley, 36 count. I don't
36
have very
count.
much 36 count fabric. And so pearled barley won out. And so I'm going to do the squirrel and bobbin on pearl barley as well.
This one. This
So
one.
those are my finishes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
Oh my
one.
gosh.
So, does it call for 36 count?
I think it does. If
Does
it's
it?
I think it's 36 count. I'm pretty sure.
Did you do one or two strands?
One strand.
Okay, that's
I
always
have,
my dilemma with
yeah,
36.
one strand. You know what? It's because it's full coverage. I don't think it's full
Doesn't matter.
coverage. So
Yeah. She
yeah,
is
one
so
strand.
cute. Can you show her again?
Absolutely.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
I know. When I took her photos, her glamour shots, I actually had forgotten to put her whiskers in. Easy to
well,
do, apparently.
usually women don't have whiskers or we don't
I
want
The
whiskers.
thing is, all audiences are very perceptive and they really, nobody said anything. I was surprised I was the first one to mention it.
You're
Yeah.
probably looking at her cute Mary Janes and the little
Oh,
buttons on her
God,
cardigan.
right? I did change the color of one of the colors in the little flowers. They're really hard to see anyway.
Oh, there's flowers on her dress. Yes.
There are three little stitches to make
Yeah.
the flower. Yeah.
Just
There's a
enough
green
to
and
be
two pinks.
annoying.
Just enough to be in. It's so cute though. I really love her. Stacy, you did a fantastic job with these.
I
You
know.
know what I've heard more floss tubers say, well, I've never stitched an animal cracker before until it's like this. Same here. I had never stitched one. I bought a few, but I bought a few patterns. But this was the one that sent a lot of us over the edge to actually stitch one.
That one
So,
and the mouse with
and
the,
bobbin.
what is that,
And who
bobbin?
was it? Somebody just did it with scissors also. She's got it with the needle and then with the scissors. I just saw her.
Really?
Son is, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't know
Oh,
I was
that's
going to mention
okay.
it.
That's okay. People are just so creative, but I love these animal crackers. It's like
Did
I
I show
want to
you my
do them
sticker?
all. Show me your sticker. I love your red Betty.
Look at my sticker.
Yeti. Oh, what does
Isn't
that
that
say? I
cute?
love floss.
I love stitching this much.
Oh,
Coming soon to a package near you.
really?
I'm gonna just put them in some packages. I'm gonna put them in without knowing who they're going to.
Yeah.
My husband helps me with that stuff, so it'll just be a random. You might get stickers.
I love it.
You might
Your
get
monthly
stickers, people.
boxes are amazing. I don't
Thank
have that
you.
bag here, but
That's so much fun. Making panels for bags for me is really fun.
is that your
Really
favorite part?
fun.
Yeah.
But it does create making those bags is so much more time consuming because I'm now patchworking versus a piece of fabric.
Yes.
It's just a lot of cutting, trimming, pressing, cutting, trimming, pressing, cutting, pressing, trimming. But I really enjoy it. And to see a stack of finished bags, and I appreciate each and every one of you that have taken that chance and pressed that button to get a bag. It just pretty exciting. When I was little, my mom's, the ubiquitous question we ask children is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my mom used to say, my answer to that was, I want to make stuff and people will buy it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't have a thing, I didn't have like, I want to be a teacher or a firefighter or whatever kids were saying back in our day.
Right.
I just want to make stuff and people will buy it.
Wow.
Mission accomplished. Yeah.
Tenfold. I would
Yeah.
say so.
Pretty
Definitely.
yummy. Pretty yummy.
Yeah. I know you work really hard and you spend a lot of time bag making.
I do.
And it cuts into your stitching time.
Totally does. But
we joke around, we're like, stupid work, it cuts into our stitching time.
Stupid with 2 O's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love stitching, but I can't do it when I'm sleepy. And lately, because I do have a lot of bags that I need to get out the door, and I'm booked in through August. I just not going to be a lot showing up for sale before then.
That's
But
fantastic.
it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm going to do things a little differently next year, especially with the box, my subscription box. It's going to be done more like the fabric of the month style, and it won't be monthly, but where you can subscribe and then stop if you want to.
Yeah.
And then you only pay like that month before it comes, that kind of thing. It's going to be different. I didn't know how to set that up this time.
Yeah.
But the end of next month is the 3rd box going out. So it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
I know it will be.
I get so excited about this stuff. But
it shows.
Can I show you my Hannah Sanderson? So the one, my current, my main squeeze is Hannah Sanderson right now. So this is Hannah Sanderson.
A lot of times we will start things together.
I like
birthday
that.
starts too. I do too. I love that.
So I'm doing the colorway on the dark. My fabric isn't that dark, and I'd love to tell you what my fabric is, but I don't know what it is. And I discovered when I went through my whips, I don't know what a lot of them are. I'm not that person, apparently. I'd like to be that person though.
You're like Brenda?
You know what? If I want to be like somebody, I'd like to be like Brenda. Yeah. So I knew when I first saw Hannah, I didn't even know that the original was at the attic at the time, but this is years. I bought this not long after I started stitching, but I didn't start it until, I don't know, a year ago probably. But I'm using the attics, the conversion that they have at the attic. So these are all Glorianas, and they're all Glorianas.
Yes.
And then my progress is here.
Okay. All right. So you're much farther along than me.
But you started the juicy part.
Yeah, I did the dessert first. Oh, look at how yours, I'm getting blown out. But
look.
I am getting blown out. Yeah. Oh, Barrie, that is stunning.
Isn't it yummy?
Yes.
So my plan is, because I have it on Scroll Rod, is to do everything up to this point, and then it's like I have to hold back on going further up here so that I can roll it. I'm actually making myself do parts that I would normally have just like saved for later.
What would that be? What would you have saved for later?
Oh, I would go straight up to the center. But the way I have this set up on my stand, it's so much easier for me to work closer to this end of the rod than up here.
Yep.
The bars or whatever they're, the round parts. So I thought, well, I will finish the flowers over here, the flowers up to here, and then I have some stuff here to do. And then I can scroll it up. It up. I'm new to the scroll rod thing. So normally normally I use a hoop, but that's that. And I love it. This is the one I go to. This is like my main squeeze.
Your main squeeze. So you mentioned it's new for you to use scroll rods.
I learned that from you. I learned it, yeah, the way you just like whipped your old scroll rods out at that first retreat. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I do.
nice.
What is
And
that? And I stitch two-handed and you
I
stitch
knew about
two-handed.
it with the stitching two-handed.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And it is a whole different thing. Now I can't just curl up in my chair and do it. It's more of a sit up straight and pay attention,
yeah,
so they're, I like them both.
yeah,
But for something like this, where I really want to finish this, and I'm doing the top with all the words,
yep.
I have the whole border and I have some of the top done.
Oh,
But
you are flying through that.
right?
You
I
are.
know. So it is 40 count something, and I don't know what it is.
It's really pretty.
It's probably
You're doing the
lakeside.
dark version, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, so
thinking
am
it's a
I.
lakeside because I actually have, because of the Penny Lakeside Alert System, I have a very healthy collection of lakeside fabrics. And that would be my go-to for anything like this. So I suspect it's a lakeside,
Probably.
but I don't know which one.
What Barry's talking about is we have a very dear friend, Penny Tucker, and she will text us lakeside alerts, which she
Yeah,
knows the store has lakeside.
she's the LAS, Lakeside Alert System.
So we are like,
I mean, it got to the point where I said, I'm good. It's like, I think I have more than my share.
but
So
I've got a really cool one that I want to use on the old Scott, thanks to Penny. And I know we'll get to
yes,
that. Yeah.
yes. So the other one I have on scroll rods is Anton Uffendell, which is this bad girl. Oh, I've loved this for so long.
Me
I have
too.
both the sisters and I would like to do them both. I, oh, I do know what fabric it is. If I can just see it's on Dirty Teacup. So this,
Oh, it's,
and I'm stitching her with the Soie d'Alger
yeah.
on linen, needle and flax, Dirty Teacup.
Dirty Teacup, which is
Dirty
one of my
Teacup.
most favorite linens.
Yes. So I'm just going to really get the border filled in before I get into the juicy parts.
That
So,
is beautiful. I've
I
started
just,
it with Kay, and I only have the
yeah,
berry bowl done. Kay's got way more finished than me, but
the
that's
berry
beautiful.
bowl's pretty scrumptious. I'm not going to do the whole border first, but I am going to do kind of what I'm doing with Hannah Sanderson, where I'm just um, gonna just fill in before I scroll down.
Yeah, yeah.
I might be a little
So
bit grown
you're
uppy
using,
about
what
that kind of.
scroll rod system are you using?
These are needle needs. These are the Millennium frames. I know that people think they're really hard to get. Just order them. They'll come.
I,
Order more than one because they'll
are you
both
able,
come.
and you're able to
Yeah.
get your linen really tight?
Yeah. And I because of wanting to do things, because I'm a new stitcher and it's like a smorgasbord. That's why I tried every designer, all kinds of linen, all kinds of scroll frames. And I have a Lowry, I have the Kay's Creations. I also have the Hearthside Mark II, which I
Oh,
love. But my favorite, hands down, is the Needle Needs. It's just two arms that stick out. Put your
yeah.
frame on it, flip it. It's just so user friendly. It's lightweight. So good. So I
And
will be.
when you've got your project on the arms, is it stable?
It can get a little bouncy just depending on how I'm stitching.
Yeah,
And if you're
yeah,
resting an arm on it, it can be
yeah.
a little bouncy.
But it's
Not
so
of the
easy to
Mark,
use.
absolutely. The Mark II by Hearthside. It's the one that
Evertote has.
Evertotes has. Yeah, it's beautiful. Highly recommend. And Jody of Trixie Tricycle has a really fantastic overview of I think even she might have more than one. The only thing about that is if you use their rods, you have to stitch your fabric on. Or you can get an adapter that takes the Millennium frame or the Omonic frames, which have that,
Mm.
you know, and I have the adapter. Of course, I have the adapter. So
And did that
it's
work really
just,
well?
it works really well. And it has a tray and it's got a, a stand for your tablet or your
Yeah.
chart. It's like a cockpit. I mean, it's really, really nice.
And then
Yeah.
you add the light and the magnifier and you look like you're doing surgery in your
Exactly.
cockpit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I have indulged my desire with all manner of ways to stitch.
Mhm.
And as I'm paring it down, like I used the what are the things I brought to the Cincinnati, that stand, the thing that holds the hoop?
Oh, um,
I can't remember the name of it.
Patoki.
Patoki stand. They're beautiful. I just find it more troublesome than I'm willing in that time.
You want to get to
In the
stitching.
and in the time frame that we have for stitching, it's not that much when we're at it's just easier for me to hold it in a hoop in my hand.
Yeah.
So, and I have
At a
some beautiful
retreat. Yeah.
hoops. Yeah. So I'm probably going to part with one or both of those. I can see some paring down in the near future
Mhm.
of some
I think
things
that's
that I've tried.
fabulous that you've been able to try different things
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
really
That's because I
narrow
make a lot of
down.
bags. Yeah, it's because I make a lot of bags to support my habit.
That's right.
Yeah.
We complain about work, but it really enables us
Oh.
to have beautiful stitching.
My commute is downstairs. I go downstairs and bra free, I don't have to, sorry, but it's like I could work in my pajamas if I want to.
Well, I do unless I have to get on a Zoom call.
Oh,
And my
that's right.
office is just across from my bedroom.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
nice.
I'm really grateful. Really grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. What else are you working on?
Let's see. So when we met in Cincinnati, I believe I
Yep.
was working on Serenidum.
Yes.
Also a chart that I adore. It's, you know what? It's the play on primary colors. I'm a sucker for primary colors in all their shades, not like, not print primary colors,
Yeah.
but this light blue and reds and the golds. Yeah, and look, that's the only way I know what fabric it is.
Oh.
So it's Lakeside Vintage Bisque. This is
Oh.
being stitched in the called for DNC. And
Beautiful.
I've got the whole border done.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I have the whole,
Oh.
it sort of connected. I don't know what the whole hole there is. I don't know if it's been a while. It's been a couple of years since I did that. But the top, let me pull this over. But those colors
They are fabulous.
they just make my heart sing. Yeah.
Yes, mine
I
too.
really, really love them. The words are over one in a dark, dark brown. And I'm using a 103 for that.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
So
I'm
pretty.
just gonna work top down, see how it goes, and figure out what I was doing on the border. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Maybe it's supposed to be
But
like that.
it
I'm
could
sure
be.
it's supposed to be like that.
Thanks, Grace.
It's supposed to be like that.
It is like that, huh?
And it's staying like that.
It's exactly like that. So a couple of years ago, my husband and I had to go up to Boise, Idaho. He had a surgery done so I started this
Oh,
up
yeah.
there, and I'm using the called for
Yep.
over dyes. And this is one that I look at. This is the why haven't I finished this one, because I've got the meat of it done.
Yes.
Again, her colors are just preaching to the choir there, I know, but aren't her colors just amazing?
Amazing.
And that whole series that she has with the blue birds on them,
Yeah.
I have them all. I'm all kitted. Pulling these out, Grace, is really good done. It's that classic, oh, now I need to stitch on this.
Right.
It's like you just feel it coming on.
I was
So
going to
the next,
ask you, you know, when
Mhm.
you were preparing for
Yeah,
this floss tube, like, and you're pulling things out, was there anything that really hit you? Like,
yes,
why
yeah,
am I not stitching
that one in
that?
particular.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one in particular, because I'm so close to, I've got the bulk of it done,
you do.
you know.
You
I'm
have
that
to
person
finish
that
that
doesn't
one
watch the last few episodes of a series too. So I wonder if I'm just kind of that don't want to finish it, you
because you're
know.
enjoying it.
Kind of. I don't know. Or
Oh,
I don't know.
and you don't finish the series. You don't want it to
I
end.
A number of series I realized that I haven't watched the last few episodes. Yeah. So
Interesting.
I know. It's I have the next one I have on there's no rhyme or reason to my stack,
Okay.
by the way.
Okay.
Is the one that you and I started. So Grace's and my birthday are 2 weeks apart. So we do a birthday start in that midpoint between our birthdays. Someone else is doing this.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
totally floored.
Holly? Somebody
Is
else is doing
she?
that with somebody else is doing it. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not very far on this, but pulling this out again just whet my appetite to spend some time with it. Even
Yes.
though I'm only working on the border,
Well, that border is no joke.
it's no joke, but it is really satisfying. It Partly because that's one of my favorite greens. I love that acidy, warm, yellowy green.
Yes.
And oh, I love it. Look at you.
You can't see it.
I It's beautiful. You've gotten so far though. So
I
I don't
know
know
when
when
I
I'm gonna,
pulled it back out again, I'm like, okay, why have I not worked on her? Is it the border
yeah,
that's intimidating? I don't know. Oh,
a
the
little bit.
birds.
It's I Oh, the birds. See, I'm not even that familiar with everything in the chart because I haven't studied it at all. But
Yeah.
I like what you did is you just like get to the middle.
I
Um,
usually start in the center and I
yeah,
did work my way up because I knew I better start getting some of that border done and not
you got
save
a
the
chunk
entire
done.
border for last.
These people just tickle every little funny bone
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got.
they
Look at
do.
her waist, her teeny tiny waist.
But look at her arms.
I'm just, she works in the field.
Her knuckles almost drag.
I love it.
I
I
can say
love
that
it.
because I have really long arms.
I have T-Rex arms. I love you this much. So the other one I have next on my pile is one that you and I started, I believe, last year, and Lansac.
Yes. And the
And
reason we started, go ahead.
yes, the reason we started was because we saw jeans at the attic in August.
Yes.
And it's just mouth-watering, mouth-watering. It just is so gorgeous.
That
So
picture does
I'm
not do it justice. Look at those
using
beautiful
jeans,
colors.
right? I'm using jeans um, conversion. Any conversion of theirs, you can, contact them and you need to purchase them from the attic. But well worth it. They do a magical job. So I believe this is 90s Nirvana by Needle and Flax. And I've just sorry. It's a
You're
big piece
way
of
further
fabric.
along.
Yeah, it's a big piece of fabric. I
Yes.
did mind the orientation that'll actually fit on the fabric.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that
I know.
because I
Oh,
was supposed to be
oh,
stitching it sideways.
yes.
That's not gonna work.
Oh, so she's on timeout?
You know, she's on timeout big time.
Big
But
time timeout.
now that I see yours though, let me see yours again.
Yeah.
God, it's so pretty.
This
Yeah,
is a big piece of fat. This is must be a fat half, right?
must be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
stunning.
wanted to get up to start doing what's that called? A swag at the top or
Oh,
what is that called? What
like
is
a
that?
garland.
The garland, yes. That,
Yes.
oh, that, because Jean had a chunk of that. Maybe she had it all done. I don't remember now, but that's what really got me was the garland was just so gorgeous.
Yes.
And it's a lot, it's a big piece. I don't have the guts of the chart here, but it's a really big piece
It is.
with
Anne's
a lot
telling
of
me
stitching.
she's sorry. She's trying to make up with me.
Who?
Anne's trying to make up with me
Oh, is
right
she trying to
now.
make up with you? Anne
She wants
Lansack.
she wants me to stitch her again.
Well, I'm thinking just get a second, just
You
get another
thought for
piece of
a minute
fabric.
I'd lost it, right?
Just get another piece of fabric.
Yeah,
Because that's a lot to take out. I mean,
I know. That
it's,
that is like a week's worth of stitching.
yeah.
Oh
Now
well.
you have two fat quarters and you need a new piece of fabric. So
Yeah. Can't believe I did that. But it's easy to do.
did you have it on the rods? So
And I
it just,
started it. I was supposed to stitch it sideways, which I have done. I've stitched a
oh,
lot of
have
things
you?
sideways. Yeah. As
Oh,
long as
it
you're
would not have,
keeping the same, you keep your stitches going the same way, it's
right.
fine.
Wow. No, I never thought about stitching something sideways.
Yeah.
Not a once.
Yeah.
So the next one on my stack is Jane Fittis. I bought this as a kit from um, Sassy Jacks, like
Wow.
in early, it was January of 2001. So it was
Yeah.
not 2001, 2021. So Jane Fittis, I think it was a stitch along possibly on, not from Sassy Jacks, but on something on maybe Krista Kramer. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Oh yeah.
But I love Jane Fittis. I have the called for Soie d'Alger, and
So
I've started her twice.
you've started her
I
twice.
started her twice. So my first start was on Weeks Cocoa,
Uh-huh.
and it's 36 count. And so because I was new stitcher, and I thought, okay, it looks fine, looks totally fine. But it
Yeah.
turns out I don't really like working on 36 count. So somewhere along the line, I started her on 40 count on the other end. So now I have some decisions to make. Which one
Wow.
do I want to continue with?
What makes
So
you happy? Which
the
count is
40
your
count, the
jam?
40
The
count.
40. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really good on 40 count. It's not lacy at all. But Soie d'Alger goes well with 36 count. I mean,
It
without
does.
seeing the 40 count, I think I would be fine with the 36. But now that I
Yeah.
see the 40 count, again, I don't know the fabric. I
You
don't know
could
what I
stitch them
chose.
both.
That's a brilliant idea.
Oh yeah.
Not going to happen. But I love this one, and I would very, very much like to finish Jane Fittis. Very much.
That's one I want to start this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's do it together.
Okay.
So my next
I've
one,
got her all kitted up and ready to go.
do you,
Yeah.
what floss will you, do you have the Soie d'Alger, or I think on the back, your options are 103 or Soie d'Alger. Probably
I
103.
think I have Soie d'Alger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next one is Ann Thomas. For obvious reasons, I learned that I actually really like confetti stitching, because I'm not, I never even dreamed I would finish her, but now I think I could imagine her being finished
Yes.
sometime. I'm not nearly done. I'm just, this area. But now that I'm stitching her in 103s, which are in a box upstairs.
Oh,
But I just, something about
stunning.
everything about
Stunning.
her is just gorgeous. And this is the called for fabric, which is, where is it on here? I'll
Oh,
tell you in
Barrie,
just
that
a
is just
second.
beautiful.
But I know it's sand. No, something.
Sand
I'm
dune?
looking for it. It's
Vintage
on
sand
here.
dune?
Sand dune, vintage sand dune.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 40 count vintage sand dune. Breathtaking. Look at those
Stunning.
birds. I mean, and now you have her underway, and you have Walter done, right?
I have Walter done and I'm doing all the confetti on the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah, I need to get back. That's one I want to get back to
And this
this
was the
year.
first, I think this was the first one I had done over one on. Because I started her in 2021.
You're
So my first,
fearless. Look at you. You just
I
started and
didn't
look at
know
the
enough to
projects
be
you're doing.
now I'm a little more like, I don't know that but I knew, yeah, I don't think I'm even doing it with, I didn't know about Swasserfine at this time. So it's just over one with 103.
Yeah.
So now here's one I don't think I've shown anybody. My nephew and his wife have been married for over 3 years now. I started for them. What is it called? Nevermore until death do us part. I think it's called Forevermore, not Nevermore.
Nevermore.
So they're a little goth, I guess. So Nevermore. So they are travelers and very tropical, and so I'm doing this in some good colors, but using a lot of variegated DMC. And they have a black lab. So I put the black lab in there. This is the Why Haven't I Finished It? Their 4th anniversary is this year. No, their 3rd anniversary is this year.
Oh, so
So
pretty.
I love it. I'm going to keep this out. I'm going
Yeah.
to keep this out. And I just was, playing around. So, and the words that I'm going to put on it, the words say until death do us part, which I'm not going to put that on, but they have some tattoo that they got that was this in Latin, I think. And it has to do with kiss me once, kiss me 1,000 times or something.
Oh,
I'm not sure that's what it is, but it's in that family. So I'm going to figure that out and do that over one, because I think I figured I couldn't do it over two and fit
yeah.
it in. And put the date of their marriage and stuff in there. So,
What a beautiful
no,
gift.
I'm so glad to see this again. I haven't looked
Yeah.
at it in so long. Squirrels and
And you
so much.
selected all the colors because that's
I did,
monochromatic.
but yeah. I think do you ever look at stuff that you started a while? Well, you do, because I've learned this, where you like go, oh, I would never do that way again. I would not have used DMC over dyed at the, maybe that's
Yes.
all I could really get at my whole, I don't know. Like I would totally do it differently if I was doing it again, but I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
That makes
I
sense.
have
Yeah.
I have a couple like that and I'm way too far in.
Yeah.
Can you
I
hear
was
him?
told years and years ago by a quilting teacher that she said, nobody will ever know what you didn't pick. When you're agonizing over what to put in a project, nobody will ever look at it and say, oh, you should have, because you present a whole piece. And I think about that with when I'm making bags too. I think nobody's ever going to go, they just see what I've made. They haven't seen all the possibilities that I rejected.
Right.
So, and I think that applies in stitching is, well, kind of like parenting. You do the best you can with what you know at the time.
That's right.
Just,
And it's part of your journey, so don't
Yeah.
change it. Yeah, my big thing with that is 36 count with 2 strands on old weeks for Shores of Hawk Run Hollow.
Oh, yeah. And you
That-
are really far on that.
I'm way too far in, but never again.
And it's beautiful, but it's not enjoyable like it could be.
Right.
So I do have Hawk Run Hollow Shores of Hawk Run started. I think I've shown you. I don't have it here.
Yeah.
But I happen to have the called for fabric, which is vintage autumn gold in 40 count. I have a big piece of it. So maybe I'll
That's
put that on my
pretty.
Instagram.
You
I just
should.
thought that's like lottery winning.
Yeah.
I remember I love saying years ago, I've been stitching almost 4 years. I'd put a request for it in at the attic, and it just showed up one day. I just saw the charge of something. You just see a attic needlework charge on your card and go, I don't know what it is, but something's coming.
Puppy mail.
And this like fat half of vintage autumn gold showed up.
Wow. That's a treasure.
Yeah, it's a treasure. So I'm using it for the Shores of Hawk Run Hollow.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And whatever. Oh, and the MPI.
Oh, you're using MPI. See, I'm using DMC.
I'm using MPI because what's her name?
Brenda.
Olivia B of Hillside Rookery offered a
Oh.
kit.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, if I don't have to go pick them and they all come in this beautiful little bag, I'm down with that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm worth it. I'm
You
worth
are
silk.
worth it. You are
Well,
worth
vintage
it.
autumn gold, 40 count vintage autumn gold is worth silk.
It is.
Yeah. Do you have this one started or finished?
I have that finished.
Oh, I love this so much. So I have her started and I'm using the conversion that Lisa Smith of
Perfect. Perfect. Kindred Stitcher.
Lisa Smith of Kindred Stitcher did a conversion. And because of how it's worded and set up, sometimes I make a mistake and use the wrong, it's not her, it's my interpretation. She has it laid out beautifully. So
Yeah.
if you want her conversion, absolutely contact her because they're beautiful. But I just will go look at the actual chart sometimes and then see how it, anyway, I've taken out as much as I've put in, I feel like. So I'm not terribly far on this, but the
Yes,
colors
you are.
again, I haven't got to the good stuff. I'm just still working on
You're eating your vegetables, but it's
I'm eating my vegetables,
beautiful.
which is not my personality. It's really not, but it's starting to, well, now I'm questioning myself. Because it's apparently I do eat my vegetables sometimes.
Apparently, that is
Yeah,
gorgeous.
but I love her. And I do not know what fabric it is, but it's 40 count something.
That is
Somebody's going to know
gorgeous.
just by
And
looking at it. It might be
I love
maybe
her.
Valor. Maybe Picture This Plus Valor.
Oh,
I don't know. But it's a couple years old. So,
I love Lisa's
I love it.
conversion, and I had already stitched. I had already stitched mine. I used the silks, the Swadeje silks.
Yeah.
And what attracted me to that pattern was that red house.
Yes.
The called
and
for.
that pair just, the pears.
Yes.
A pair of pears. No, is this a lemon? Is this a lemon maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
But that house with the pink roof. Oh.
My house is not red. My house is salmon. I use the called for.
I wonder what mine's, I don't know what, there's a red in here.
Lisa made it red, and I,
Yeah.
In retrospect, I would have done Lisa's. Just my preference.
Well, you can live vicariously through me.
Yes.
Oh, the baby's curling up.
Oh, mine was barking in his sleep a minute ago. I don't know if you heard him.
Dad didn't hear him.
Yeah.
Oh. So I have another one that you have finished recently. I have her underway.
Jane Hopkins.
And I think I also am stitching her on the called for vintage sand dune.
I didn't realize we have so many of the same.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm using the 103s, which are in a box upstairs.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so tiny. I'm just shocked at how small it just looks substantial.
When do you get to all that solid stitching?
Be glad it's small. Yeah, it's just, so does it take you back to like when you were starting in the middle though?
I did. And I finished it this year, but I
know.
Love it.
I love a strawberry border, especially when they have pink in them.
You've eaten your vegetables on that one too.
Being
a very good girl.
That is not intentional. That is not on purpose.
What is that?
The next one, I think this is my last. No, I have two more to show.
Okay.
And these are on my floss beans. This is
my favorite floss tags of all time are the floss beans.
Love my floss beans. I have a secret. We're going to do some jean beans. My daughter's working on it.
Okay.
So SDW, a German band sampler. My friend Grace influences me in a really good way. So I started this one with her, right, Grace?
That's right, we did.
using the Aversois silks. No,
Yep.
no, this is Belsois.
Who did the
Jean
conversion?
did the conversion. Are you using the conversion?
Yeah, I'm using my conversion and it's a Veriswa.
Okay, these are, well, Veriswa is on this, but Jean had a conversion,
Oh.
so I'm using an attic conversion. And we're
Okay.
doing this on, what count is the, it's Thai iced tea, but I don't remember the count.
It's either 37 or 45.
I think it's 45.
It's legacy
40.
linen. Oh,
Yeah. I love this piece, Grace.
so pretty. And it's almost 800 stitches high.
Right.
Because it's
So
a
I started in the
German
middle.
band sampler.
Started in the middle like you did. You cut your fabric though, which made so much sense. You got a nice chunk off the bottom. I started in the middle, so I had 2 little bits off each end.
Well, yeah,
it was
because they
no.
cut for us at the attic a linear half.
I think
I
so.
think that's what she said. She could do that
Yeah.
with the legacy linen.
Yeah. Yeah. So this I'm doing on the rods too. This is something I roll up on the scroll rods.
So
But oh,
pretty.
thanks for inspiring me to I'm at that impressionable age, by the way. You inspired me to work on a German band sampler. And then the next one, I have one last one that's this is, please don't be under the impression that these are all my whips, because I have a ridiculous amount of whips.
Do you?
I do.
Are these your favorite whips?
These are my favorites. These are the ones I'd like to put more stitches on. I have a lot of things where, do you remember when Rachel of Needle and Flax said, I have a lot of them that just have one corner and ABC on them, because she starts in the left-hand corner. So she has like, and I went, oh, that sounds familiar. I have a lot of things where I have just a line of something. But this is Bridget Power 1840.
Oh,
which is breathtaking.
it's one of my all-time favorites.
You just powered through and you got her done.
Yeah. Are you doing the whole thing or just the base?
Yeah. There's not many things I would think I'd want to do partial of anything. I mean, if you're going to do that, Hannah Sanderson is one to do it on.
Yeah.
Just because of all those ghosty letters. But this is just
stunning.
So again, I haven't got to all the good bits. Just like, get that vine done.
Are you using DMC?
I am.
So did I,
because of Tanya.
We met her at the February 2022.
Tanya showed that amazing.
Tanya Kleckner.
Kleckner, I think. Yeah.
She's Zen Stitcher on YouTube.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Just delightful. And she just said, nope, DMC. And it just magical. Made us mouth-watering.
Yeah.
So
That's
those
beautiful.
are my current whips.
So what are you planning on?
I do have a few plans.
Do you have a few plans? Okay.
I do. So one of them is with my good friend Grace. Now, the old Scott, but a version of the old Scott. And it's, what's her name? What's her name, Grace?
Her name is Sarah, and it's Jane Says.
Oh, Jane Says 8. Yes.
That's it. That's her
Jane Says
Instagram handle.
Jane Says 8 did a beautiful rendition of the old Scott, wherein she changed a lot of the colors to kind of richen it up. It's not as pinky in the roof. There's this deep red ombre effect. Did some balancing of motifs. So I'm doing this with, I think I got the conversion from the attic again.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of Gloriana for this. And so, no, I'm sorry. It's things from Jane.
Yes.
Some of her conversion pieces. Yeah. So
I need to get her conversion pieces, but this is called, that's the called for.
I have those, and then I'm going to substitute some of them for some of the ones Jane used.
Yes.
And then at this point, the fabric that I've chosen is Lakeside Bittersweet,
Yes.
because it looks so much, it's so close. But once
Yes.
they get all the fabrics to, once they get all the threads in one place, because I didn't bring them down because they're not in one place. I might reconsider, but I think right now I'm loving the pink. Digging the pink.
So that's what I've got, and it's not going to show very well. I have Lakeside Linen 40 count vintage Chantilly cream,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like a beige pink,
So the
very
called for is
similar.
vintage. The called for is vintage meadow rue, which I do have some of that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll do a floss toss.
Yeah. I know we keep
So
saying, okay, we're starting this on Sunday, but we've been working on Hannah Sanderson. And we're
I'm
like,
not
"Oh,
quite,
happy to keep stitching
don't
on
want to
Hannah."
kind of break up with Hannah yet. I don't want to put Hannah. Yeah, I'm really enjoying Hannah Sanderson. Although I haven't stitched in 3 or 4 days because I'm really tired from sewing. So sewing
Yeah,
has to come first. You know, that's my job.
I know. I
I'm
know.
I'm lucky and I love it. I love the sound of the machine, and I just, you know, the whole process I'm a real fan of. The only thing I don't care for is the business side of it. It's like I want to, what that's that phrase that said I girl boss so hard. Now I got to work full time. You know, it's like I girl boss really, really hard. So
Yeah, but
the
Sharon
next,
said, Sharon from Crescent Colors said the same
yes,
thing.
yeah.
She's,
All of a sudden I got 15 employees.
yeah, I'm running a business.
Yeah, just lucky
Yeah.
me though. Anyway, the next one, the only other start I have planned is Vibrant Flowers by Kathy Barrick. And I bought the kit from Rachel at Needle and Flax. So it is with 40 count Thornfield and NPI.
Me too.
Yes. So the beautiful thing about this also is our friend Holly, who has Hobbies of Holly on on FlossTube and on Instagram. She has a birthday at the end of this month. I don't know exactly what day she's starting,
Yeah.
but we'll find out. Hobbies of Holly will be the place to find that out. So this is her Instagram handle and her FlossTube name. And then this is Vibrant B-Day Sal is the tag that we'll be putting with that. So I'm
Well,
kind of
I'll have
excited
to
about
join
that.
you.
Will you join me?
Of course I'll
We'll
join
join
you.
Holly.
And
And then I
Holly.
have one other thing I want to share in the what new skill would I like to learn? Not new stitch, because I'm learning new stitches with our Nicola thing that we did, and then the
Yep.
new class that she has
Are you
on
doing
her.
that as well?
I haven't, I've printed things off. I haven't pulled
Okay.
fabric or floss yet.
Yeah.
And actually, Karen of Recovering Monogamous Stitcher was it Karen? I think it was Karen, had a really good idea to do a booklet, do a stitch book with it instead of a long piece.
Oh.
So I might pursue that idea. She talked about it in one of, I think it was Karen. It's on my phone. It's on my phone. Um,
The
yeah,
one you're recording on right
the
now?
one I'm recording on. So, but no, I'm pretty sure it was Karen.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't Karen, it would have been Karen Combs, and I don't think it was Karen Combs. So
Yeah.
anyway, I
One of
like that
Karen's.
idea of doing a stitch book. So you could change fabric. I mean, I could kind of
Oh,
see
yeah.
it. So she said
Yeah.
she hadn't really worked up how she was going to do it yet, but if I think of anything, let her know. So that's kind of where I'm heading. But what I would
Well,
like to
let
learn.
me just
Oh,
interject for a second. So
yeah.
Kathy Decker, if you watched that FlossTuber for a day,
Mm-hmm.
she's
I
making a
did.
stitch book with surface embroidery. So it's a
Oh,
kit I think she gets every month, and it's one of the
yes.
pages for the book. And I thought,
Right.
that's a fabulous idea.
Right.
So
Right.
something like that for cross stitch.
I think that would be, because this is all about learning these stitches and and not just learning the stitch, but learning all the variations of a certain stitch and the different applications for them. I mean, I'm fascinated by them.
Mhm.
And I didn't used to be. This is fairly new for me to be curious about that. I was just all about the X.
I
all
know,
about the
right?
nicks.
Do
But
you feel like there's more attention though lately on the other stitches?
Mhm,
From my perspective, I feel like there's more attention, and maybe that's
yeah.
Nicola.
Well, I think it's Nicola's influence, and also we're paying more attention to that. There could be somebody, I don't know, maybe Jean Farish or somebody out there who's been talking
Yeah,
about other stitches all the time, and we've missed it. So,
yeah,
you
that's a
know,
good point.
we're pretty fervent Nicola fans, and I think that
Yeah,
just one taking this class that we did over in I know I say Cincinnati, but it was northern Kansas, wasn't it?
Kentucky.
Or Kentucky. I'm a
Sport-
Midwesterner now. I live in Ohio after having lived on the West Coast my whole life.
I know.
So
Yeah.
learning that I don't really even know the states that I'm surrounded by. So working on it. So the one thing I would like to learn next year is how to take a antique sampler and do a chart with it. I have one antique sample. I have more than one antique sampler, but I have one that I want to do that with. And I know that you've started that process. I do not quite get how that process. I have Max Stitch. I don't really understand it. I have a program on my phone. It's just right. I haven't put enough attention to it yet, but I want to show you the piece that I want to do. It's a piece I
Yes.
bought. I have it out of its frame, and I have a piece of batting behind it.
Oh,
So what drew me to this is basically the words in the middle. I mean, I love the images because I like that kind of stitching. But the
yes.
accuse est utilis, as far as I can gather, translate to the needle is useful. Or
Really?
useful needle, or I mean, it's something to do with the needle as being useful.
Oh,
And I
Henrietta
thought
Rogers, huh?
Henrietta Rogers, and that the needle is useful. You know, it's been the core of everything I've done since I was 8 years old. My
Yeah.
whole world is about thread and a needle.
Yeah.
And so I love the colors. I'm a big fan of all those.
That's
And this one is done
center
in wool.
motif.
Isn't that fun? It's
Oh,
done in wool with the cats on the side. It's pretty classic.
yeah.
Oh, maybe that's a dog. I'm thinking that's a cat and a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the flower wreaths and the motif in the middle. And accuse est utilis. The needle is useful. Amen.
It's okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm back. It had to happen, right?
Oh, yeah. Mine's fallen down or I've knocked it over.
I could be the one. So
Yeah.
as you can see up there, those
Yeah,
are
what is all of that?
that's the batting pieces for the specific sizes that my husband needs to use. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And
So
then
you're going to
fabric.
reproduce that sampler for us?
I'm going to reproduce that sampler for all of us.
It's beautiful.
I'm going to stitch it. I'm going to reproduce it and stitch it at the same time. Is that how you do it? Or do you just reproduce it on paper and then?
For the one that I'm stitching the model for now,
Yeah.
which I really want to get back
What's
to.
her name? She has a great name.
Euphemia Mickey.
Yes. And she's Canadian, right?
Scottish, but immigrated
Oh,
from
that's right.
Scotland to Toronto.
Yes.
Yes. So I charted it and now I'm stitching it, but I'm picking the
Oh,
colors as I'm stitching, and that's
got to be so much fun.
it's fun and it's challenging.
Yeah.
It's not easy picking colors. I don't have any formal training, in colors. I
don't
know
either.
what I like and what I think looks good together. Oh,
The colors on the back are the same as the front almost. So
really?
I don't have they're very similar. But look at that. Isn't that wild? Love it. Love it. I don't know how old
I can't
I
relate
don't know
to
how old
that.
she was.
I get to that point with certain things that I'm like, I'm carrying.
If I can find her, I could figure out how old she was, but I don't have any idea how old she was. So
No.
yeah.
And what kind and is that a French sampler?
I don't know. Rachel said that it could be American. I mean, Rachel's done a lot of research on,
Yes.
historical samplers. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but it does have those wreaths that make us think of um G. Leger, or not G. Leger, I'm sorry,
Or Ann Thomas.
Rossetta's
Wait, Ann Thomas?
GGR. Well, I was thinking more the rose wreath sampler
Mhm.
by GGR.
Yep.
GGR has a number of them with those floral wreaths in them.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
British, the Saxony samplers have
Yeah.
that wreath. They call it a cartouche with the girl's
Hmm.
initials in it. That's
Oh,
similar, but she didn't put initials in the center.
no,
No,
no. I love the colors though. So,
I do
and it's
too.
got a strawberry border. I love a strawberry border.
Get on it.
Now go get on it. As soon as I get done with these bags, later in the year, I
Yeah,
got things that I
yeah.
am not available until sometime in September. So,
So
yeah.
do you have any retreats you're going to this year?
I do. In October, I'm going to see you at the Great British Great British Sampler Weekend comes to America in New
Yeah,
York. We're going to meet at Hobby House, and
yeah.
it's at the something cliff, not Rose Cliff, something
Um,
cliff.
something hotel.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been there once before, and it's really one. They put on a beautiful retreat.
Oh, fabulous.
So,
I
and
cannot
this will be
wait.
the first. I've been to summer school 3 years in a row,
No, you're not going
and
this year.
I'm not going this year. I had to make a decision based on a couple of things, but I really want to go in February
Yeah,
when we have a gathering in February. We're going to do Phoenix in February again. So
right.
I needed to do some balancing out. And I also think I'd like to try to go to, that sounds really non-committal. I think I'd like to try to go to the, what is the one in January? Sampler Symposium.
Oh,
So
yeah. That's a great
I'm
retreat.
I'd like to do Sampler Symposium. So that would mean a January and February trip to Phoenix,
Hmm.
which August in Phoenix, it's really hot, really, really, really hot. January and February in Phoenix is really
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then
And
in
you're going to
October,
Swindon, right? In
yeah, so next
2025?
October, we're gonna go, my husband's gonna go with me. We're gonna we don't know quite what else we're gonna do out there, but maybe go to Scotland, maybe France. I don't know. We're going to go to England and somewhere else. We're
Yeah.
going to be gone 2 weeks. So I'm going to need you to come out and take care of the dog. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Okay,
I
good.
bring my
Thank you.
laptop because I'm going to have to work.
You
Is that
do.
okay?
Yeah, I'll leave you the Wi-Fi password and please bring Max.
Of course. He's sound asleep down here. Oh yeah, he's all tucked in.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Not
Yeah.
her. She's chewing on her some kind of toy over there.
So did you bring any haul from when we went to Keepsakes? It's
I
okay if you didn't.
didn't. I didn't bring any haul down. I haven't been buying a whole lot. It's kind of on my, I did buy some things at Keepsake. So would you show the tomatoes? Do you have those? Oh,
Oh, so
the the
this,
the
are you
color.
typically a seasonal stitcher?
No,
Me
I'm
either.
not in. But the colors on that I'm not crazy about. But the color that they showed on the sample on the model, loved. So
Fabulous.
yeah. So we're
Yep.
doing that, but not those colors.
Yeah, exactly. Which one did you want me to show? Oh, that's made up.
Oh, the tomatoes. I ended up
Look
with
at
all
this
three.
tomato.
Aren't they fabulous? They're stuffed so perfectly.
They are. Did Beth make these too? Beth, so Beth, we met Beth at the
Yeah.
retreat
She made those because I bought the other ones up in her pop-up
room.
shop. Yeah. Yeah, I
And
ended up with all three
my
colors.
good friend Barrie bought this from.
She, she's so amazing.
She is amazing.
It's because you're such a good
She
friend.
texted me. She goes, I'm asking for a friend. Do you like this color or this color? So Beth made these and they're
Yeah,
hefty, but these
they
are
are.
fabulous.
They are really nice. I think I have three of them. Are there three colors?
Yeah, I have one more, but I could only carry two down
I
because I
think
had
there's a
other things.
pinky, more of a pinky one. Yeah.
I think the other one's like a gold. Is it?
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. It's a gold one. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gold, orange,
Yeah.
and red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
So
those. And then I got some charts at Keepsakes. And right now I couldn't tell you what the other one, there was a a monochromatic one. I think you got, yes. I love that
this,
one.
she had two samples, and one was like a burgundy and another one was a different red.
Yeah.
And the samples are stunning. Look
And
at
we
that
got some fabric from
border.
Nicola, some Sleeping Bear. God, that's so pretty. Sleeping Bear and Fragile.
Yes,
So we got some needle and flax fabric.
we
And then I
did.
did get the charts from Nicola.
Did
The three
you?
charts that were recently
One,
released.
yeah, one was the Queen of the May.
Speaking of that, she is going to be releasing the one that she designed. Did you see that on Facebook?
No.
She has a chart coming out that she designed that she's been working on for a long time. The border, she teased the border a while back, and then she just recently put a little photo of, again, the border and the colors.
I
So
think
she has
that's
her own chart coming out soon, like
yeah,
really soon.
I'm
So
sure
I've
it's
been
fabulous.
checking her website to see if it's
If it's
available.
out. Is it out? Is it out? How about
See that? Have
now?
it now. Have it now. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Barry.
I miss you so much, Grace.
Oh,
Just
I miss you too. And
thank
I'll miss
you.
you at summer school this year. It won't be the
I will
same,
yeah, I'll
but I'll
miss
see you
being
in
there.
October, and
Yeah.
not that far away.
Where the leaves are changing colors and the Erie Canal is right there. I mean, it's antique stores I mean, it's beautiful up there.
Uh,
Absolutely
I haven't
beautiful.
been. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
Hobby House in their new location.
Oh, me too. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll come get you at the airport.
Sounds
And then we'll get
good.
Brenda and Laura. And then we'll have Rachel there too. And I don't know who else is coming, but I'm pretty sure it's not just the five of us. I think Audrey's coming.
Audrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be the
Oh,
noisy table.
I hope so. So I just thank you so much for having me on your
Thank
channel. And
you.
I
Thank you,
just, it
because I know you
inspires.
used, huh?
I have 6 episodes on my own channel that
You
I haven't,
do.
I do. And so Stitchfolk is, maybe I should come back. Maybe I should, as I sew less and stitch more, it would make more sense.
Yeah,
Unless I do some tutorial stuff, which I could do.
yeah. I know there's only
Yeah,
so many hours in a day, but thank you so much. I'm
my
thrilled that you
pleasure.
wanted to come on, and I just loved
Heck yeah.
sitting and visiting with you, seeing all your
You
beautiful
said,
stitching,
I said an hour and a half with Grace. I'm in. Bring
right?
it on. So
So thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye, Floss
Bye-bye.
Tube.